A vast majority of consumers, especially consumers that watch this channel, aren't putting it in flappy paddle mode to drive around. They want to know that the engineers can do their job. And I feel like the tuning, the mapping of this transmission is the biggest Achilles heel of this platform. Hey gearheads, and welcome to Garage Talk. I'm Corey, and this is a 2025 Audi A3. This is the entry-level vehicle for this premium luxury brand, and in this video we will investigate, is this a good value in the luxury market, or should you look elsewhere? Before we get too far into this one, I do want to thank Audi for bringing us this beautiful green A3 not too long after bringing us the more potent S3 variant of this platform. It has been fun living with this one for a week, but as per usual, let's start under the hood and talk about what motivates this one. Because as I reference that S3, this is the more everyday version of their compact luxury sedan, the A3. And so we do not get over 300 horsepower like we did in the S3. We get a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder making 201 horsepower and 236 pound-feet of torque, routing that to all 4 wheels thanks to their quattro all-wheel drive and via their 7-speed S-tronic automatic transmission. We will talk exactly how that translates to driving feel and experience when we get behind the wheel, but suffice to say, it's plenty peppy from my perspective right now. Closing the hood, this district green really does stand out. There were a lot of opinions from my friends when I posted pictures of this online. I want to know your thoughts on this avocado green shade hue that we have here. But Audi has updated it, kept it fresh and modern. We've got cool LED headlights, running lights, turn signals, all that right here. We do have the dark Audi rings in the grille. All around, it is just a cleaned up, handsome, not overstyled look from Audi with this A3. I am very appreciative to have color, not just of the German rainbow variety, as some of my friends and I joke, but a green here on this one. I think it wears it well. It is a premium green that definitely gives off premium vibes. But again, very understated looks here on this A3. We'll go ahead and pull in. Our premium model is riding on some up-level wheels here. Nice split spoke, 5-spoke design, wrapped in some Pirelli P0 rubber. These are 225/40 R18 all-season tires. And again, we will talk about how they perform when we get behind the wheel. So we pull around to the side. Again, the green really does just stand out. Overall though, not overly styled. It is a clean, simple sheet design without a lot of lines, without a lot of exaggeration. A typical German compact luxury sedan. As we pull around to the rear, just like up front with the sequential turn signals there, we get sequential turn signals here in the back, full LED taillight units, very clean, very modern, very upscale look all the way around. We do not get a visible exhaust down below, save that for the S3 model, but it's just a cleaned up design back here. Again, like the rest of the vehicle, not overstyled. I do have the vehicle running, so I don't think the kick to open trunk lid will work, but you can also access the trunk right there. It is a very nice, quick to open trunk lid with just over 8 cubic feet of space when the trunk is open. I like how the hinges themselves do not cut into your overall storage space. Well, they do and they don't, but it is always set aside for those hinges, which is very nice. You can see we do have a little bit of extra storage here on the side, a little bit of storage inset here on the side. Go ahead and move my backpack out of the way. Underneath the floor here, which we can hook on the lip of the trunk, you can see we do have our spare and some little additional storage areas around that spare. It is a temporary use spare, but nice to know that we have it here if it is needed. And then we can go ahead and drop that back down. Very nice trunk space for the compact class. We have a three-way split back seat here, so 40-20-40 split back seat, so you can pass some long items through the middle. It's a ski pass-through, I guess you could say. And then we have this retractable bag hook right here, so you can hang some bags on it so it doesn't roll around. Again, like I said, the hinges are always taken into consideration in your overall trunk space. And I like how Audi does give you this handle to pull it down and pull it closed if you give it enough gusto, and that way you don't have to put fingerprints on the back of your district green Audi. Before we climb in, I do want to show you the key. Typical Audi key, very slim, compact, though it's a little overly plasticky for a luxury brand, but I like its overall size. It slides into my pocket very nicely. You can see we have lock, unlock, a trunk release, not much else from here. You can deploy a physical key if you need to, and your panic button is back here on the back. No remote start. We don't have app access, so I can't tell you or speak to that, but you can simply keep that in your pocket or your purse because we do have a proximity key and passive entry here. So you can simply unlock the vehicle by walking up and grabbing the door handle. You can lock it by pressing that little indentation on the front doors or on the back door. So I do like how we have proximity access on all four doors, which is a nice luxurious touch. When you open the doors, we get a nice brown leather interior that I think contrasts very nicely to the district green paint. We've got some fun design elements shown here with some LED backlighting, but general design aesthetics are a little on the clinical side. You'll see that more as we go inside. There's a little bit of character here, though not a lot. You can see we have a two-person memory seat, all of our window controls here with express up, down, all the way around, trunk release button right there, and some additional storage. We do have the upgraded SONOS sound system here in this tester. Multi-way adjustable seat, no manually extending thigh support in this particular model though. Then again, you can see the brown leather that we have here with some suede accents in gray. I like the two-tone approach. It does just give it a very classy look. We'll go ahead and slip in behind the wheel on this humid East Texas night, put my foot on the brake, and the engine start button is actually down here on the center console. When you do, the little 2-liter turbo 4 whirs to life. We get a few beeps to let you know everything is coming to life in here. We do not get a head-up display on our model. We do not get a rear view mirror camera or any kind of screen up there. So our screen real estate really is limited to these two screens right here. We have the Audi digital cockpit here, and then we have the MMI screen right over here. Go ahead and clear out all these warnings. I am currently filming on my iPhone, but we'll talk Apple CarPlay and Android Auto here momentarily. This does have wireless CarPlay and Android Auto. I'll go ahead and show you. Yes, we can pull that up. It is quick and snappy for the most part, so I've got no complaints there. We'll talk a little bit more when we're driving. I do like the driver-centric focus here with the air vents on either side of the steering wheel. It is a very nice driver-centric situation here from this seat, but over here again, clinical is the term that I typically use with Audi interiors. All this is like nice plastic, but it's plastic, so it's letting you know, yes, you are in the entry level of the Audi line. It does get nicer from here. I have always liked Audi screens. They are very clear, crisp, rich with color, very good even with glare. With light hitting them, as you can see here. We have very satisfying clicky buttons here for all of our HVAC controls. We'll talk about an interesting thing with this button here in just a moment. More clicky buttons here for our different drive modes, which you can see we have comfort, auto, dynamic, and individual. And it actually stayed in dynamic for me, so that was kind of cool. Traction control, your engine start, stop, defeat, hazard button, your parking camera, which in our instance is only a backup camera, but we do have 360 parking sensors. It can park itself, and your safety buttons right there. But I feel like with a luxury brand like Audi, we should have 360 cameras, but no, not here, not in this one. Moving down further, we've got a little bit of storage here, cheap wireless charger, USB charging if you like charging quicker via USB-C. You can see our controls for our 7-speed automatic are right here with a push button park. We have some additional controls for your audio. So it's kind of like a iPod wheel. You spin your finger around the edge to turn the volume up. You can push forward and back here, mute it here, turn it off there. Again, you saw the engine start button right there. We do have some more audio controls right here. Some different controls for the gauge cluster right here. So you can configure what is displayed in front of you with the push of a button right there. And we'll go through that a little bit more when we're driving. Wipers here, your lights controlled here, your cruise control is controlled down there. Again, moving down further, we do have a lot of gloss black, 2 cup holders, electronic parking brake, a little additional power here, an adjustable armrest with a nice small center console opening there. This does slide forward and back, so if you need a little bit further forward armrest, you can, but it does negate the use of your cup holder here. We do have a damped, felt-lined glove box that has quite a bit of room in it, actually, so I like that a lot. We already talked storage in the doors, but that's pretty nice as well over on the passenger side. We do have a sunroof in our particular model. We have a manually opening mesh shade here with this one. Standard size sunroof, not a panoramic roof. And we'll go ahead and open it just to show you just how wide it opens. Some open wider than others, but I'd say this does a good job of making use of all of that space. Coming around to me, you can see at 5'10", I've got plenty of headroom. I'm not cramped in here even with the sunroof, but let's check out that back seat and see if I'm cramped back there. All right, coming to the back doors, just like I showed you earlier, they are proximity, so you can just go straight to them if you want to load a kid in the back. If you want to see what it's like to put a child seat back here, we did not do a family review of this one, but of the S3, because, well, not a lot has changed for families other than power and a little styling for the up-level S3. As we take a look at the door here, we don't get that suede backlit insert here, but this is a padded leatherette material right here, padded armrest down here, window switch, door handle, but not a lot else going on back here. I guess a little bit of storage in the door. You can see space behind me at 5'10". You can also see we have lower latch points on the outboard seats. And then that 40-20-40 split back seat will go ahead, sit in behind myself. And yeah, it's a little on the cramped side. We do get some map nets back here. I guess you can call it a tri-zone climate control because you can adjust the temperature back here via this old school wheel. So it's not a digital system, but still tri-zone nonetheless, with 2 air vents that do put out a good bit of air back here, 2 USB-C power points, and then because of the quattro all-wheel drive, we do have a drive shaft going to the rear wheels and a very hefty tunnel back here. So getting 3 across in the back seat is going to be a little snug. Speaking of 3 across, we do have an adjustable headrest for that third person and a fold-down armrest if you don't. Putting that back up, we can also fold the seat down like I showed you earlier to allow long items to pass through if need be. Coming to me, yeah, my head is on the ceiling, so I'm gonna have to slouch a little. Now my knees are in the back of the front seat, so it's a little tight back here, but it is a compact sedan. Kind of comes with the name, the territory, compact sedan, but at 5'10", you would hope that, you know, I could sit back here without my head hitting the ceiling. That's enough of a tour. Let's hop behind the wheel, see how it drives, see if that redeems some of the shortcomings here. All right, now sitting behind with mounted cameras versus handheld. Yes, CarPlay works very well as expected. Again, German engineering. I really do also like how the screen works. In its responsiveness, it isn't super laggy, so all of that works very nicely. Though when you're on the Audi screens, you kind of have to be intentional with your presses. Otherwise, in CarPlay, I think it works just fine. I did joke about referencing something here with this auto button earlier, and in my drive over to my current filming location, I noticed it did not do it when I was in comfort drive mode, only when I was in dynamic, as I was earlier driving this around the city. When I was in dynamic drive mode, the auto air conditioning fan speed on and the vehicle came to a stop and the engine turned off to save fuel. It took auto off, and I had to go back and turn it on. Given the fact that it's 90 degrees outside in the evening here in East Texas, I really wanted that fan speed going. And so to have the engine cut off, the AC compressor cut off, and the fan speed all die simultaneously just meant it got super hot and humid, muggy in here. It just felt gross. Didn't like that. Like I said, in comfort drive mode, I noticed that wasn't an issue. So for our first run, we are going to put it in dynamic drive mode. We will push and hold our traction till we get the ESC off, and we'll go ahead and pull this back to make sure we're in S mode or sport mode. We are going to let it go through the shifting itself, but I do have these plastic pedals on the back of the steering wheel to shift through the gears myself if I wanted to in manual mode, but we'll see exactly what the engineers over at Audi have done for this one. Go ahead and come to a complete stop, stand on the brake with my left, stand on the accelerator with my right, launch control activated, and off we go. 4,000 RPM from the get-go. These shifts, at least first to second, was pretty aggressive, but 6.19 seconds with everything configured thusly. So, and you can see just from coasting right now, it does hold the gears quite a long time to keep you in the power band, but you've got to be in S mode. So we're going to put it, turn traction control back on. We're going to keep it in a dynamic mode, but I do want to talk about exactly what this has been like living with for a week. I will go ahead and note that Holly has spent the most time in this one, and no, we did not do a family review of this particular model, but we did test the A3 3 years ago. I liked it back then. I felt like the chassis was spot on, that it was very well tuned, but here, 3 years later, I feel like there is something just left to be desired from the overall driving characteristics of this particular model. First and foremost, the 7-speed. Again, I put it back in drive mode, D mode, not in S mode, and I just feel like the transmission never quite knows what I want it to do. You have to put it in S mode, and then it's like overcompensating for all that. You saw just how long it held the gears when I was coasting earlier. It was holding third gear way too long. That isn't a practical mode to drive around town in. And in my time driving this around town, I just felt it to be clunky and not luxurious at all. Sad to have something as simple as transmission tuning and mapping to be the ultimate downfall of a vehicle, much less a luxury vehicle. We have also been testing an EV this week, and I've always held that EVs make great luxury vehicles because the power is just always there. You don't have to wait for a transmission. Kind of negates this vehicle's biggest problem, is the transmission having to be in the right gear for that 201 horsepower turbocharged 4-cylinder to do its thing. The engine is plenty peppy when the transmission does what you want it to do. And yes, I can hear you clickety-clacking on the keyboards already. Keep it in S mode or put it in manual mode, then you don't have to worry. But I'm sorry, in today's modern era of really good automatic transmissions, I feel like this one just falls short. I intentionally don't test flappy paddles on this channel for that very reason. A vast majority of consumers, especially consumers that watch this channel, aren't putting it in flappy paddle mode to drive around. They want to know that the engineers can do their job. And I feel like the tuning, the mapping of this transmission is the biggest Achilles heel of this platform. The overall suspension, the chassis of this is still quite solid. Everything I liked about the A3 3 years ago, I still like here in this one. I feel like it is good and rigid and would withstand a lot of torture testing around these corners here around the lake in East Texas. But I feel like the transmission just falls a little bit short. No, I don't mean just because I want to always have power and carve corners, but like I said, going around town, I just, like right now, like let's go, let's do something. It just feels like it takes the transmission too long to do anything. And while I was driving around in town earlier today, like I wanted just to get around somebody, and like it It takes too long for the transmission to allow the engine to do what you want it to do. It just doesn't downshift quick enough. It doesn't upshift quick enough. It doesn't do what transmissions should do. And so I feel myself relegated to S mode or manual mode with the paddle shifters to compensate for the transmission's shortcomings in this one. Because when you are in motion, this is a really good vehicle. The suspension tuning is very good. I already mentioned the chassis is very well planted and supported. The powertrain is plenty peppy and fairly economical. When we had this delivered to us with a full tank of gas, we had over 500 miles of range before we had to fill up again. So that is very good. And as long as you don't need the transmission to shift, like, this thing is plenty quick to point and squirt and shoot wherever you want to go. And even the brakes do a great job. We don't have branded brakes on this one, but it does a great job of slowing you down. No, I haven't really pushed this, so I can't talk about brake fade or anything like that, but I feel like this is a fairly good, well-sorted, well-planted vehicle that is absolutely let down by the 7-speed transmission in this one. There's just no two ways about it. It is the biggest shortcoming of this platform. It is what Holly echoed to me in her time driving this around. She's like, it just feels slow. And then as I drug it out of her a little bit more, exactly what she meant by that, it's the transmission. It's just slow to react, making this otherwise fairly peppy vehicle feel slow. And it's not slow. It really is quite quick and can move with the best of them. I mean, just over 6 seconds, 0 to 60, when all the conditions are right, means, yeah, it's a fairly quick vehicle and can absolutely put a smile on your face, as this one has, as the one 3 years ago did. But it's just, I hate to keep coming back to it. It's just the transmission, and that's the last I will say of it. Overall visibility out of the A3 is very good. I've got a decent window line, I've got good rear view mirrors, I've got a good view out of my back window back here. Like I said, it's great visibility all the way around. No major blind spots. I do have blind spot monitors on both of my pedestal mounted rear view mirrors outside the vehicle. The visibility out of this one isn't a problem. The comfort in here is not a problem. These seats are fairly comfortable, though for a luxury brand in the $40,000 to $50,000 range, I would enjoy ventilated seats, though we only get heated seats here in this one, though 2-person memory that I mentioned earlier. Okay, we're now at the end of the twisty bits. I want to see what this will do 0 to 60, not in sport mode with launch control and all of that. I've already noted in our S3 review that there's a lot of turbo lag in this. You can't brake torque it. So I'm just going to go from a stop, move my foot from the brake to the accelerator, ready, set, and here we go. Like, it just takes a while to realize, but when it does, it's like, oh, let's go. So again, it's the transmission just being slow to realize what I want to do. 6.68, not too bad, but again, it could be quicker. We're going to turn around and do it one more time in the other direction. See if we get a similar result, because we were going slightly uphill on that run. Now we will be going slightly downhill. So come to a full stop and go. There we go. When it finally kicks in, you start moving. And we do have that quattro all-wheel drive traction, though this is a front drive biased platform. There we go, 6.4. So still very good, plenty quick when it gets going. And that's the big asterisk there. If you do want to see more from us here on the channel, absolutely hit that subscribe button down below and ring the bell so you are notified every time a new video drops from us. If you want to see Holly's thoughts on this platform in the S3 we tested just a couple of weeks ago, you can go check that video out, where I will also install Tucker's child safety seat. All of that same information still applies, not in this A3, but in that S3. It's the same vehicle on the inside, just with more power. If you want to see more of the pictures and details of the vehicles that we drive, you can check us out on all social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, Threads, YouTube. Everything is at GT Garage Talk, or you can go to gtgaragetalk.com. But as for me, behind the wheel of the 2025 Audi A3 sedan, until next time, gearheads, bye.